Nathan Buckley is known as one of the greatest Magpies of all time. He captained the club from 1999 to 2007, earning 7 All-Australian honours, a Brownlow medal in 2003 and a Norm Smith medal in a losing grand final in 2002. Buckley started his AFL career in 1993 when he was recruited from Port Adelaide in the SANFL to the Brisbane Bears. His deal with the Bears was quite controversial, as his main desire was to play for a Melbourne-based team. The Brisbane Bears took a punt, signing Buckley on a deal, but allowing him to move to a club of his choice after one season. It was their hope that Buckley would change his mind in Brisbane and remain at the Bears. But this was not successful, as Buckley would request a trade to a Melbourne-based team after his debut season. He had kicked 21 goals from 20 games and averaged 22.9 disposals. He won the inaugural Rising Star Award as well, and drew interest from teams such as North Melbourne, Geelong and Collingwood. And a deal with the Magpies that saw Craig Starcevic, Troy Lehman and the Magpies' first round pick of number 12, which turned out to be Chris Scott, brought Buckley to Collingwood. However, this move by Buckley may have been one many would consider regretful, as the Bears would go on to draft the future of their club. Nigel Lappin and Chris Scott in 1993, Jason Ackermanis in 1994, Daniel Bradshaw in 1995 and Chris Johnson in 1996. With a young star in Michael Voss, would develop to a three-peat premiership side that would beat Nathan Buckley and the Pies in 2002 and 2003. Had Buckley remained at the Bears, he would have definitely been part of that great Brisbane Lions team, and who knows what more they could have achieved. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel and who has enjoyed these videos. It's great to build a community who loves discussing the AFL. We're close to 5,000 subscribers, so if you have not yet subscribed, please do so, it would mean a lot. Looking a few years back, in 1988, and it was again the Brisbane Bears, 2 years since their inception into the AFL, the Bears would obtain the best and most eccentric forward in the league in Warwick Capper, who was a 4-time leading goal scorer with the Sydney Swans, coming off a season where he had kicked 103 goals. Capper was in his prime and penned a 3-year deal with the club, earning him $350,000 per year, making him the highest paid player at the time. But a move to the Bears would cause his career to take a turn for the worse. In an episode of Open Mic featuring Capper, the Wiz would go on to claim the reason for his move to Brisbane was that his wife Jane at the time did not like the Sydney Swans teammates and wanted to move north to Queensland.
In hindsight, it was clearly the wrong decision, and lots of your friends at the time were telling you that it was the wrong decision. Why did you go?
I'll probably blame Jane again for that. She was adamant against the Swans players. She didn't like them. She wanted to leave. And she loved the Gold Coast, and I didn't really want to go. But it was $1 million back then. I was the highest transfer fee.
Capper agreed to move, despite people around him telling him not to go. Looking back at the decision, Capper believed it was the wrong one. And after kicking over 100 goals the year prior, Capper would kick 45 goals from 18 appearances in 1988, 16 goals from 11 appearances in 1989, and a mere 10 goals from 5 games in 1990, where they finished last. Capper also stated that the players didn't like him and would not pass the ball to him.
Because I was the highest paid and the glamour full forward, they didn't want to know me.
Did the players resent that?
Yeah, they hated it, and I didn't ask for it, but I had that last 10 years, so they wouldn't get past the ball to me.
Capper would return to Sydney in the 1991 season, where he kicked 38 goals from 13 games to end his VFL career. Brett Deledio's departure from the Richmond Tigers at the end of 2016 is a well-documented decision that backfired on the highly regarded player's career. Drafted at pick 1 in 2004, Deledio was present for much of the darker days at Punt Road that saw the Tigers constantly missing finals and being knocked out of the first round of finals from 2013 to 2015. The Tigers backtracked in 2016, winning only 8 matches and finishing 13th on the ladder. And after the 2016 season, Deledio made the choice to leave the Tigers in search for success at Greater Western Sydney. He would take a pay cut on a 3-year deal, but little did he know the success was right around the corner for the Richmond Tigers, who would win the premierships of 2017, 2019 and 2020, immortalising the likes of Dustin Martin, Trent Cotchin and Jack Rewalt as all-time greats of the club and the game. To add insult to injury, Deledio would have to endure some tough times, including losing in the 2017 preliminary final against his old side, which also happened to be his 250th game, and then watching his old team win in 2019 as he sat on the sidelines. Ryan Griffin would also suffer the same pain going on to watch the Western Bulldogs break a 62-year premiership drought after being part of the team over 10 seasons and 202 games. The two-time best and fairest and captain for the Bulldogs in 2014 would request a trade to the GWS Giants that would lure premiership hero Tom Boyd to the Bulldogs for pick 6 and Griffin. Much like Deledio, Griffin wanted success at the Giants, but little did he realise what loomed a year later for the Bulldogs. In what almost seems poetic or a challenge from the football gods, just like Deledio, Griffin was tested against his old side in the preliminary final in 2016, but would fall short by 6 points, sending the Bulldogs to the grand final where they fell victors against Sydney. Griffin would play a further 2 seasons, suffering from injury in 2017 that cut his year short, and eventually retiring at the end of the 2018 season.